to an all-new semester of CTV Cooks, where there will be plenty of delicious recipes, features of restaurants around Fort Collins, and even some experimental eating along the way. I'm Krista McAllister.
And I'm Hattie Williams. Tonight we're going to be taking you on a journey to see what local coffee shop should be grabbing your attention.
We'll take a walk on the wild side as we attempt to make lobster tails in something that we like to call top or flop.
Then we'll show you our romantic sides as we cook up a tasty Valentine's Day treat.
And I'll be experimenting a bit in the kitchen as I make dragon's beard candy.
All this and more right here on CTV Cooks. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of seafood, but one dish I can't get enough of is lobster. Krista and I got the chance to whip up some lobster this week, and well, you're not going to want to miss it.
Let's check out how well the recipe went and see if we topped or completely flopped. And welcome to Top or Flop, where we will see if we will come out on top of a recipe or if we will fail miserably or flop. So today we are going to be making lobster. I'm a little nervous, not gonna lie.
I'm ridiculously nervous. These things literally look like insects and they're cold, they're kind of frozen, and I'm just like not excited to touch them.
But let's get started. Let's see how well we do. The things that we are going to be using are lobster tails. We have 2 of them. We're going to be using salt, rosemary, thyme, parsley, black pepper, and paprika, as well as some butter and garlic.
The first thing we're going to do is preheat the oven to either 500 degrees or to a broil.
So, broil. Okay, so we're going to go and preheat the oven.
So we've got the oven preheated, and now we're gonna prepare our lobster tails.
You got a man. Oh God, I'm so scared. I'm gonna let you grab them. You're so strong.
We're gonna eat this.
No, put it the other way.
We're gonna eat. No, we have to cut that way. Oh, look at his little feet.
Oh, I'm gonna throw it. Why do people like this? Here's what we're gonna do. I'm kind of almost scared.
Okay, so we're gonna take, there's like this hard shell in the middle of the lobster like belly, and we're gonna take our scissors and kind of cut down so that we can open it up to get the meat out. Do you want me to hold it? Okay.
No, I got it. I can do it.
You can do it. I believe. You gotta squeeze the tongs. Cut its belly. Look at its little claws.
Can you hold it for me? So the next thing that we're gonna do
is we're gonna open the shells up, and we have to kind of pull the meat out.
Apparently, when you put lobsters in like boiling water to cook them, they scream. And I think that's the noise that we just heard. It was a little when you were pulling the meat off.
I think that's just them being like, "You're boiling me."
I would scream if I were being boiled too.
We kind of cut it, and as you can see, like the shell, like the outer shell is kind of coming off. So now we can just kind of pull that off and actually have access to the meat inside. So if you want to cut the other end.
It looks a lot softer now.
Yeah, it is, because that's like the actual. Oh,
I'm sorry. I really want to help, but I just
That's
can't.
how they swim.
They're like whales. Oh God! It's kind of like an umbrella.
His leg fell off. I don't like touching dead things.
So the next thing that we're gonna do is loosen the meat and then season it. So I would say let's maybe take a fork and then we can do it kind of like pulled pork style, where you just get in and shred.
Are we supposed to shred it, or are we just supposed to like fluff it?
Well, I think you do, but like in the same way where you just kind of like get in, pull and twist, or twist and pull.
All right. Just kind of fluff it up and like kind of separate it a little bit from the shell. Up next, we've got to salt and pepper the meat and then put it on our baking sheet to go in the oven.
We got 1 and 2.
Now that we've got them on the baking sheet, we can kind of set them aside and work on our sauce. So we've got 2 tablespoons of butter, and we're just gonna Cook it in the microwave for about 30 seconds until it's fully melted. We're gonna go ahead and mince our garlic. We've got our butter melted, we've got our cloves minced, and now we're gonna add them together and then add our spices in.
So the first thing we're going to do is add 1/4 teaspoon of paprika. Now we need 1/2 teaspoon of the remaining spices.
So now we're gonna add our garlic cloves to our mixture. And now we're just gonna mix it up with pork.
Yep. Get it in there. Looks so good. Honestly, I would rather eat this than the lobster. I think that looks pretty well mixed. So now we're just gonna take this nice little guy and
Paint it onto our lobster.
I'm just gonna get this and layer it on. Honestly, this is
Wow,
looking
yeah,
good.
that
I'm
looks
not gonna
really
lie.
good.
All right, so we're gonna put these bad boys into the oven for 8 to 10 minutes. Ooh, we're gonna get these in there. Ooh, very roasty toasty.
The timer just went off for our lobster, so we're gonna go ahead and pull them out and pull them over here. Here, let's see. It might also be because we did put like a lot of seasoning.
Where's where's the sensor? All right, so we just got our lobster tails out of the oven.
Let's get these on plates and taste them.
How did you? My God.
It's because I separated it from the shell. Okay, so we've got our lobster, and let's try it, yeah? It's not that bad. I like it.
I mostly taste the seasoning, not gonna lie. I think the aftertaste definitely tastes more of the lobster, and us landlocked folk don't have much experience with fresh lobster, so not the best taste, in my opinion. Just something that I'm not used to.
I can't tell if I'm just hungry is why I keep eating it, or if it's because it's good.
I kind of like it. So we just tried our lobster tails, and we're gonna determine whether or not this was a top or a flop. So back to you guys in the studio. So just as my previous self had said, we are now going to determine whether our experience, and it certainly was an experience, if it was a top or a flop. So clearly there was a lot that kind of went on, from being too scared to kind of open the lobster, all the way to, as you had seen, the fire alarm going off. Did you think that this was generally, did we come out on top, or did this recipe kind of flop?
So I was not sure the time of, because I was just very hungry. But after some time of thinking about it, the fact that we set the fire alarm off, I feel like it's kind of a flop. I mean, the fire alarm went off. The whole apartment was smoky for like a week or two afterward, and it was kind of over seasoned. So I'm gonna go with flop. But what do you think?
So I think the thing that kind of sticks out in my mind is we actually had someone who was helping us film. They actually tried it, and they are a little bit more seasoned in seafood, and they actually said that it was pretty good. And so that's the thing where I feel like the recipe itself was pretty decent. I don't know much about seafood, since we do kind of live in a landlocked state, but I think I did like the seasoning on it, so I think the recipe turned out good. But the whole process, like, I could barely get the nerve to handle the lobster.
Oh, yeah.
So for me, it was. I also think it was kind of a flop.
Okay, I'm glad we agree.
Well, as much fun as that was, we're gonna take a quick break.
But don't go anywhere, because when we come back, I'll be taking you to a local coffee shop to check out this month's foodie feature. All this after the break.
Queen is just my everything. Right now, I wouldn't know where my life would be without her.
They say chivalry's dead. It's not. Terrence is a gentleman. He opens doors. His smile did it. His smile, his eyes, his knowledge. My landlord, he decided that he wanted me to move based on the fact that I was transgender. It takes me to a place of no hope. It takes me to a place of loneliness. It saddens me. When you discriminate against somebody in housing, Where do these people go? Let's just respect people in everyday life for just being human.
Welcome to Foodie Features, where I get to visit different restaurants near campus, try some amazing dishes, and introduce you to some new must-taste foods. This month, I'm excited to tell you about the local coffee shop, Momo Lolo's. This coffee shop has been one of my favorites since starting at CSU, and if you're anything like me, you'll want to check it out.
If you're in the market for a new coffee shop to study at this semester, then look no further. Momo Lolo's, located off Elizabeth and right across the way from Moby Arena, offers a great atmosphere to study, catch up on homework, and get a great cup of coffee.
My name is Marley Taylor, and I've been a barista here at Momo Lolo for a year and a half about. So this guy, Colin, started Momo's. He worked in technology. I don't know what inspired him to start a coffee shop, and then he owned it up until about 2 years ago when September, Dante and Sebastian, his granddaughter and her 2 sons, bought it from him, and now they own it.
My name's Gabby, and I'm a barista here at Momo Lolo, and I've been working here for a year and a half now, almost 2. I would say like the location itself is super unique because it's so close to campus, and I'd say something that differentiates is like it's really homey and very welcoming, and our motto is like the friendliest coffee shop in town, and I think that's super true for all of us.
For locals or newcomers alike, this coffee shop can give you a unique experience. With almost all of their products from local farmers and vendors, you can truly say that you're getting a taste of Fort Collins. With the new semester in full swing, Momo Lolo's is shaking things up. By adding a new marketer to the team, they hope to broaden their reach to the students in the area.
Hi, my name's Emma. I'm a barista and in charge of marketing at Momo Lolo Coffee Shop. And I've been working here since November of 2020, so not too long. We're doing social media, we're doing a lot of different promos that we've handed out to a bunch of apartments around. We're gonna try and start doing like the social media, like if you tag someone, then you can get a free like $20 gift card or a water bottle or a t-shirt, those sort of things, and hopefully pairing up with places around us. There's all sorts of stuff. Yeah, in February we do a big thing for Valentine's Day where you can buy someone else a cup of coffee, those sort of things, so yeah.
If you're thinking of checking out this coffee shop, then there's one drink the staff encourages you to try.
One of my favorite drinks is a specialty drink. It's called a honey bear. It's honey and cinnamon in a latte, and Gabby invented it, and if you want to get it her style, you can put white mocha in it.
The honey bear with white chocolate mocha is my favorite, with like 6 shots. So it's honey, cinnamon, and white mocha, and then it's a latte form.
This has been Hattie Williams with CTV 11.
I loved visiting with the baristas at Momo Lolo's and getting to try their honey bear latte. Fun fact, Momo Lolo's doesn't actually have a meaning behind its name. Nobody knows where it came from, and if you ask any of the baristas, they all have different stories. The most popular one is that when Colin, the original founder, was trying to think up a name, he asked a friend and they randomly said, Momo Lolo's. Well, Rams, that's all the time I have for you, but don't go anywhere because after the break, Krista will be showing you how to make dragon's beard candy. Stay tuned.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Welcome back from the break, Rams, and welcome to Experimental Eats. During this part of the show, I will be explaining the science behind making some really cool food. This week, I made Dragon Beard's candy. Hi everyone, and welcome to Experimental Eats, where I'll be diving into the science behind how food works. Today, I made Dragon's Beard candy. This candy originated in China during the Han Dynasty. It got its name because the emperor thought that the strings of candy looked like the mythical dragon's beard. Because of the labor-intensive process, this candy was reserved for the ruling class. But nowadays, it's a pretty popular street food in China, Korea, other parts of East Asia, as well as you can find it in the United States and in Canada. The process to make this candy involves boiling sugar and water and then pulling it into over 16,000 strands. The resulting candy is then wrapped around nuts, chocolates, and other kinds of fillings. So now that we know the background of this dessert, let's get into making it. For this dessert, you'll need 2 cups of sugar, 1/4 cup corn syrup, 1/2 teaspoon vinegar, 1 cup of water, and cornstarch. We will be heating the sugar up to about 258 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll let it cool until it hardens a bit, and then we'll be stretching it to create the candies. The stretching process is used to aerate the candy. This means that little bubbles of air are formed into the candy as you stretch it, which results in a little bit more of a lighter and chewier candy. We did 13 twists, which resulted in 16,384 little strands of sugar. Start by pouring all of the ingredients into a pan, clipping a candy thermometer on the side, and then turning the stovetop to a medium-high heat. You don't need to stir the ingredients together because this will risk crystallizing the sugar. When you add the sugar into the water, the sugar will dissolve into the water to create a solution. But when the water starts to boil off, it creates a super saturated solution. This happens when there's more sugar in the solution than is normally possible as a result of the water being boiled off. At this point of supersaturation, the sugar molecules will be looking to turn back into a solid state, which they will do by crystallizing. This crystallization will kind of give the resulting candy a grainy texture, which we want to avoid. As the sugar heats up, it will be going through different stages. The stages are dependent on what temperature the water boils at and the concentration of sugar within that solution. The 7 stages in the candy making process are the thread stage, the soft ball stage, firm ball stage, hard ball stage, soft crack, hard crack, and caramel. The sugar will slowly move through these stages as it heats up. You'll kind of notice that the temperature will stop increasing around 220 degrees. This is because the candy is entering into the thread phase. Don't increase the temperature at this point because then you'll risk overcooking it. Elevation is one other thing to keep in mind while making candy. Because there's less resistance on the surface molecules at elevations higher than sea level, the boiling point of water is lower. To accommodate for this, you should reduce the finishing temperature by 2 degrees for every 1,000-foot increase in elevation that you're at. Once the sugar reached 258 degrees, I took it off of the heat and then it continued to rise to 261 degrees. I then poured this solution into a plastic container and a silicone mold. The silicone just makes it a little bit easier to take the sugar out of it once it's cooled, so I would probably recommend this method. I was supposed to wait for the sugar to cool completely, but the strands kept breaking. I attempted to stretch 6 different batches of sugar, trying slightly different variations each time with no luck. And that's when I realized that the recipe had been written for someone that was at sea level. But because Fort Collins is at a higher elevation, I realized that I had to reduce the finishing temperature that I was boiling my sugar to. Once I reduced the temperature, it gave me a little bit more of a pliable chunk of sugar, but it still kept breaking, so I decided to change my process. I kind of went off the rails and I decided to start stretching the mixture before it had finished cooling. So it was kind of firm, but still a little bit warm. This honestly gave me the best results, and I was finally able to create those really nice strands of sugar that we were looking for. Yay! The last thing I had to do was to chop up some peanuts and wrap them up into little bundles inside of the sugar strands. So after 8 tries and a lot of research, I was finally able to make the Dragon's Beard candy, and I can't tell you how good that felt and tasted. So, sending it back to you guys in the studio. I don't know if you could tell, but I definitely went through like all 5 stages of grief when I was going through that process. But ultimately, I am very happy with the way that it turned out. When the peanuts, when I chewed them up a little bit more, and then once the sugar started to melt, it made this really nice, creamy texture, flavor. It was really delicious, and I'm super excited to try making it again now that I actually kind of know what I'm doing. But I mean, besides making rock candy when I was little, this was the first time that I've made real candy. So I'm just gonna give myself a little bit of grace for the fact that it took me like 8 tries to get this recipe right. Well, anyway, don't go away quite yet, because when we come back, Hattie and I will be showing you how to make a fun Valentine's treat. Stick around.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes, and you come to mine. This is it. First impression. My way in. But, here's the thing. Can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Can one piece of paper really tell you my whole story? Like, that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or how anytime there was an opportunity, I was the first one to step up. Because I wasn't gonna let my life, my circumstances dictate who I was gonna become. And all of that determination, commitment, drive, that's me. And that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent, like me.
No,
Thanks for staying tuned, Rams, and welcome to our favorite part of the show, college cooking, where we find easy and budget-friendly recipes that anyone can make.
Tonight, Krista and I decided to jump aboard the Valentine's Day train and make some Valentine's-themed Chex Mix. I love Chex Mix, and I can't wait to try this one out.
I also am a fan of Chex Mix, so let's get started. What's the first thing that we have to do?
So first, we're going to take our chocolate, and we're going to go ahead and put it in our pot, and we start melting it. And it melts pretty fast, so we want to kind of start stirring it immediately, otherwise it burns. I actually work in a chocolate shop a little bit, and it's super fun. I actually get to make chocolate treats all the time, so this isn't anything too new for me. But I don't know, what are your experiences with chocolate making?
Honestly, not too much. I am a big chocolate fanatic. One of my favorite things, honestly. I one time did this like little class thing where I actually got to make chocolate truffles, and that was really fun. It's very interesting to know how temperamental chocolate is. But I mean, obviously, I'm no expert. I have never worked at a chocolate factory. What do you think is one of the more difficult parts about dealing with something like chocolate?
So chocolate just burns just so easily, and when it burns, it gets like these like brown, almost like little brown chunks or dots in it, and you know, it kind of takes away from like how smooth everything is, and you know, chocolate's supposed to be that creamy smoothness, and when you burn it, it just isn't the same. It's not quite as good.
Yeah.
So the trick I found is to cook it on a low temperature and then just keep stirring. Like, don't stop stirring until it's completely melted.
Yeah.
But
interesting.
Yeah.
I think one thing that I learned from making my dragon's beard candy was that anything with sugar in it is just super temperamental.
Oh, yeah.
I think my biggest mistake was not realizing quick enough that I needed to reduce the temperature that I was boiling my sugar to, because each different stage is a matter of 5 to 10 degrees. So not reducing it that first amount of time was my biggest mistake. So it's, I think, super interesting to see just how all of that stuff kind of works and what can make all of our recipes not turn out super well.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it looks like our chocolate is melted, so now we can go into the next step, which is adding our strawberry jello mix.
Are we adding it into the chocolate?
Yes, so we're going to add it into the chocolate, and I have a lot in this bowl. I'm not going to add that much because we don't have a lot of chocolate, and we don't want to over-season it.
Okay.
So I'm just going to kind of like add a little bit so that, you know, it turns the chocolate pink and it gives us that strawberry, like, flavor.
It is Valentine's Day, so we do kind of want that color in there, too.
Oh, yeah, and then I'm going to add a little more. What do you think?
Yeah,
not quite
I would
pink
agree.
enough.
It's been so long since I've had Jell-O, so I know that it's just mostly for the flavoring, but I'm kind of excited.
I love Jell-O. I definitely eat more pudding than Jell-O, but I mean, Jell-O's really good.
Jell-O is Jell-O, you know?
Oh, I know. All right, so it looks like we're looking pretty good.
There's some nice little pink speckles in there.
Oh, yeah. So now we can go ahead and grab our Chex Mix, and we're going to add our chocolate into our Chex Mix and then just kind of stir it up.
Perfect. I know that it just kind of plopped in there, but the more chocolate, the better, in my opinion.
Oh, I know. I'm adding every single drop because I don't know about you, but I love chocolate.
It is the time for it anyway.
You can never get sick and tired of it.
That's my same philosophy with ice cream. Honestly, I'm like, it doesn't matter if it is snowing outside. One of my roommates and I actually went outside while it was kind of flurrying, and we got some ice cream. So there is, in my mind, no problem with that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, I'm making a bit of a mess, but it's okay.
It smells so good. I'm a little hungry, so I'm excited for this.
Oh, yeah. And I found that the best technique is to kind of, like, fold it over because chocolate tends to just, like, get stuck at the bottom. So you really want to make sure that you evenly coat your Chex Mix.
Well, that's looking pretty good. So the last thing that we have to do is just add in the M&Ms.
Yes,
so just pour them right in there. How many do we want? We got a nice little bowl here.
As many as we want.
That is tempting. I would say we need a little more. We'll start with that.
Okay,
mix
and
it
we'll
in,
fold
and then
it in.
we can get them. Also, we just have the really nice, pretty Valentine's colored M&Ms.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's just gonna really add to the whole
theme
of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think we need more.
I'm just gonna do the rest.
That's beautiful.
I honestly don't know why I held back.
I agree. I love this. All right.
Ooh, looks so good.
Wow. See, it's so easy, you know, and you can like let it cool and bag it up for a loved one. I mean, I'm definitely making this for my parents and like bringing them a little bag. So
super quick. All right, that's looking good. I just want to dig in. What do you think?
All right, yeah. So I'm gonna give you this. Let's try it. It might be a little warm, but
that's okay. So does it just kind of solidify once you get everything really solidly in there?
Yeah, so I found the best way to do it is to put it in the fridge for a couple minutes, but... Oh, wow. It's... Okay.
I need to finish chewing. That's wonderful. I know that we're supposed to kind of let it cool a little bit.
And I kind of like it warm.
No, because it kind of melted the M&Ms a little bit, and I just think that's just lovely.
Oh yeah, and I mean, even though we didn't add all the strawberry like Jell-O stuff, it definitely adds to the flavor. Like you can taste the strawberry in that. There's no way that you're gonna miss it.
Yeah, no, super great. Definitely would kind of recommend trying this because I really enjoyed it and super quick and easy.
Oh yeah.
Well, Rams, that is all the time that we've got for you tonight. But don't worry, because we'll be back next month to bring you all the new tasty recipes.
And don't miss tomorrow's new show right here at CTV Channel 11. Good night, Rams.